Hey, everybody. Welcome to another quantum well-being show. The fastest 30 to 45 minutes on the internet, right? I'm Nori Love. I'm your host right here on Broadcast Team Alpha. Excuse me. Throat try. I'm Nori Love, and if you don't know me, I've been with Broadcast Team Alpha since the inception, five-ish years ago. But I'm also a healing artist, and under my umbrella of healing artist is me being a registered nurse for 150 years or so, give or take. I'm also a hypnotherapist. I'm also a Reiki master, and I am Silver's Healing Modality Level 1 practitioner. And I'm a coach. I'm a transformational coach. So under my title, if you will, of healing artist are all of those things. And I've been so blessed to be able to put them all together in my unique offering. Because if you come to me for one of those things, you usually get a little bit of all of them. So it's pretty magical. Anyway, tonight I'm really excited. I just wanted to give a shout out to our friends over at the Conscious Awakening Network. The Conscious Awakening Network. We're going to be streaming our shows over there, and we might even have some other offerings that you may be interested in the not too distant future. So you can find us, of course, on Broadcast Team Alpha YouTube, broadcastteamalpha.com, and you can also find us over at the Conscious Awakening Network in real time and then in archives. So how cool is that? So I'm really excited to talk about Edgar Cayce tonight. I thought I understood Edgar Cayce from what I learned about him when I was like 19. I moved to Virginia Beach, and I kind of grew up around the Association for Research and Enlightenment area in Virginia Beach, because I was only 19. And I understood as much as I could understand back then. But now, revisiting him and the amazingness that he is, I'm understanding him from a whole different level. So Edgar Cayce spoke of man or woman as an eternal being originating in the spiritual realm and having an ultimate destiny of going back to the spiritual realm. In the interim, right, in this area where we call life, in the interim from spirit back to spirit, is that we pass through so many incarnations here on the earth plane. Cayce spoke about each of us as body, mind, and spirit in unity, right? That just sings to my heart. I love that. Cayce spoke about each of us as body, mind, and spirit in unity. The Spirit of God is life. This is good. The Spirit of God is life. The mind is the true builder. The body, I love this, the body is the result of what the mind has done with the power of what we call spirit. Let me say that again. The Spirit of God is life. The mind is the true builder. The body is the result of what the mind did with the power of what we call spirit. So that means that the mind and the spirit builds our body, right? I mean, how powerful is that? Amazing, right? True healing is always marked by an awakening process within the cells, within the atoms, within the tissues, and in our entire being. When we get into talking about Edgar Cayce, it's good to know that a number of mind-body techniques, right? Because he believes that we are body, mind, and spirit in unity with God. In unity, maybe as God. That might be correct also. So many of his readings and therapies, if you will, they're not really therapies. That's not a good word for me to use. We'll call his readings. It wasn't just the items I'm going to tell you about today. It was also with visualization, with breathing techniques. Maybe some people were told to work on their dreams. People were taught to understand or to get understanding of the role of positive emotions. sometimes in the readings, the cure that was given to people, I'm going to find the right word. Meditation was also a part of it, affirmation, and maybe even all of it at once, right? So these should always be in combination with the suggested remedies. Okay, so the remedies. So Edgar Cayce, cool man. He was born March 18th, 1877. He lived until January 3rd, 1945. He was an American clairvoyant who claimed to speak. I love these words. These words excite me. Claimed to speak from his higher self while in a trance-like state, right? So he was called the sleeping prophet. Edgar Cayce's words were recorded by his friends and then ultimately by his secretary, Gladys Davis Turner, who has a little bit of notoriety all her own, you know. So during Edgar Cayce's sessions, he would answer questions on a variety of subjects people would ask. And the subjects were healing, reincarnation, dreams, the afterlife, past lives, nutrition, Atlantis, and future events. So interestingly, he had all of these gifts, right? And this was, back in the day. He was a devout Christian and a Sunday school teacher. And he said that his readings came from the subconscious mind exploring the dream realm, because he would go to sleep, right? He would go into a trance, which looks just like sleep. He would go into the dream world, and then he would get the information. He would interact with his subconscious mind. Cayce founded, this is what I referred to before, a nonprofit organization called the Association for Research and Enlightenment, and that was built to record and facilitate his study of his channeling and to run an unhospital. It's so adorable, right? It's still there, but they don't use it as a hospital. And it wasn't called a hospital. Maybe it was. I thought it was called a retreat for the sick. And it's this adorable little cottagey looking house way up on the hill at all of the property of the Association of Research and Enlightenment. The newer building was built out closer to the road as years went by. And it used to be a retreat for the sick, and people would go there and they would receive treatment on body, mind, spirit, and soul, all of those modalities that we talked about, including the remedies that Cayce offered that in his readings. People could go there and get taken care of in that way. Is that incredible? Anyway, I get so excited. I love it there. I love it. So I'm going to talk about a few of his remedies. You may know some of them. Hi guys, I see you in the chat room. So the first item I'm going to talk about is etomidine. And you can get this. The only place that I know to get it personally is Heritage Health Food Store in Virginia Beach. Heritage Health Food Store. I am not associated with them. Nobody that I know works for there, right? So it's just, that's where I get my products from. So etomidine, lost it. Etomidine is atomic iodine. And I know it sounds bad, right? It sounds potent, but it's actually less toxic to our bodies compared to the iodine that's actually found in kelp tablets. Etomidine is a unique iodine preparation that Cayce said would be extremely beneficial for many health purposes, right? So when we think of iodine, we think of glands, right? Especially the thyroid gland. Approximately 610 of all of Cayce's readings suggested etomidine in cases involving glandular deficiency, right? But there's more glands than the thyroid, or a shortage of iodine in the body itself. According to Cayce, it can be used whenever there's an indication for it. How great is that? Or an indication that one of your glands is not balanced. Let me go back one more. Oops. So, this is my next favorite one. I don't want. the screen keeps jumping to it. So etomidine was rarely prescribed as a treatment by itself, but it was also used with other things that we talked about, right? Visualization, working with energy, weight loss, working with the metabolism, and glandular function. That doesn't really fit in with what we're saying, but okay. Sometimes there's those wild cards, right? Anyway, my personal experience with the iodine that they're talking about was in another product called 636 that Edgar Cayce channeled. 636, when I knew it, was like a spring tonic, and I would take it every spring. And it had a little bit of that iodine in it, and then some other delicious herbs and herbs. And it was just what you need, especially when you kind of feel kind of sluggish coming out of winter, and, you know, kind of need to jumpstart a little bit. So 636, I don't think I'm going to talk about that tonight, but just maybe write that down or keep it in the back of your mind. So I got a ding for talking about castor oil with the heal word. So I can't do that. But I'm going to let you know that castor oil, another name for it, is Palma Christi, the palm of Christ. How cool is it that castor oil is also named the palm of Christ, right? So I'm going to refer to it as that. Castor oil is amazing. It has a variety of external uses, such as mixing castor oil with baking soda and putting it on your feet for calluses. You can use that same mixture for moles, ingrown toenails, and warts. Castor oil is so good. Do you guys have any experience with castor oil? I did the packs, which we're going to get into. Castor oil packs were advised in about 570 readings of Edgar Cayce, and most of them were used for inflammation, right, of the intestines, of the gallbladder, poor elimination, right, constipation, epilepsy, liver conditions, right, because your liver's right here on your right side, headaches, appendicitis, arthritis, colitis, hello. And in about 50 additional readings, castor oil was recommended for massage, for cysts, for bunions, moles, tumors, and warts. So what's the deal with the castor oil pack? God, it's so good. Just checking the time. The castor oil pack is amazing. What you need is a bottle of Palma Christi, right? You need a cotton or flannel piece of material that can cover from side to side and your whole belly, right? Then you need some saran wrap or plastic. And then, of course, you need a towel, or if you're really like over generous with the Palma Christi, you may need some plastic underneath you so it doesn't get on your sheets or whatever. So those are all the things that you need. So you take the soft flannel or the wool or the cotton and you fold it 3 or 4 times so that you end up with a good pack, right? Like a nice thick kind of packing. So they give the measurements, but you can figure that out yourself, right? Other areas may need different size packs, but right now we're talking about the pack that goes on your stomach. So good. So you apply your Palma Christi, right? And it's pretty thick. So if you put a lot on, you can kind of catch it pretty quickly. Then you put the flannel over it. And then I usually put a little bit extra, right? So that it really soaks into the flannel. Then I put my saran wrap. Then I put some plastic and a towel under and a towel over. Oh, and the heating pad, right? So the heating pad goes before the towel because I want all that delicious, yummy warmth in all of my organs. And the Palma Christi working the magic that it works. Anybody ever used it in the chat room, you guys? Let me take a peek. Let me see what's going on. Let's see. Yes, we are fractals of God. Etomidine. I'll get that spelling for you, Lind. Okay, so Augie's familiar with castor oil and sage. You used it. Sage said it actually almost saved her life. Me too. Linda said castor oil was recommended to me when I was 2 weeks overdue birthing my son. I was nervous about it, so I didn't. Okay, I understand. Yeah, so Sage is talking about how she laid down for about an hour, and I've laid down for 30 minutes to X amount of hours, depending upon what I really had going on. Truly preventative packs are better than emergent packs when something isn't feeling good. So let's see. So this is an interesting suggestion of Casey's. Charcoal capsules. Activated charcoal. Now, I have a history with charcoal because of being an emergency room nurse. When people would come in having overdosed, orally, we would pump their stomach full of charcoal. Well, pump their stomach, right? Empty their stomach, put the charcoal in, let it absorb all of the ickiness, and then we'd pull it out. And this is kind of on that premise. Charcoal tablets were prescribed in about 15 readings for digestive problems or for gas. It aids in digestion. Whoops. It's really good for abdominal bloating, and it's excellent for gas discomfort. Activated charcoal is also known as active carbon. Active carbon, absorbent charcoal, and medicinal charcoal. Those are the other names for it. It's a fine black charcoal, carbon powder made from natural materials such as wood pulp. And due to its large surface area, activated charcoal has high absorption for properties. It's got a lot of surface area. So it keeps certain substances from being absorbed into the stomach, right? That's why we used it in the emergency room. The Cayce readings advise that only take it, of course, when it's necessary, and to keep down those tendencies for gas formation. So, I'm sure he has readings on gas, if gas was an issue for somebody. And there are foods, right, that are more conducive to not having gas, and we might not know what they are, right? So it might be an adventure figuring that out. But better to do, natural things than to have an intervention. But if you have to have an intervention, natural charcoal capsules, that seems like a good way to go for me. Let's see, what else is it good for? This is really interesting, this next one. Oh, here's Formula 636. How did I get there? How cool is that? Okay. Bear with me, guys. My mouse is being a little persnickety. All right. So Formula 636, atomidine with iodine, right? This is a unique blend that it is. The atomidine that we talked about with iodine to support normal metabolism, glandular functions, weight loss, and energy. Also in the 636, the spring tonic. I'm sure you could use it in fall too. Ginseng, yummy. Ginseng counteracts sluggishness, gives you an energy boost. And then phytoestrogen black cohosh, yummy, has been documented in many studies for its role in balancing hormonal shifts. They even say dramatic hormonal shifts, and by alleviating PMS and menopausal symptoms. Other ingredients is, of course, the iodine. Vitamin B6 is in it. There's an elixir of lactated pepsin, so that's really yummy for your gastric juices. There's liver extract in it, and there's black snake root extract in it. There's also, of course, ginseng that I mentioned, and then there's some water. I'm so excited that came up. Bear with me, guys. Let's see. This is so interesting. I want to talk about this before we end. So I have to roll this out. So bear with me, okay? Bear with me. But I think you're going to find it interesting. Ready? The charred oak keg. Have you heard of it? This is how you make something for a remedy. The charred oak keg, and there's a picture of an oak keg. It's recommended for the throat and it's recommended for the lungs. This recipe is incredible. Charred oak keg is an American folk remedy for the lungs, and it's been used at the Association for Research and Enlightenment, and it appears to be helpful in resolving virtually any kind of abnormal condition in the lungs. Its effectiveness stems from a stimulation of the circulation of the blood in the lymphatic fluids. And by this mechanism, it would relieve the bronchial spasms, right, which is so uncomfortable, clear the lungs of toxins and lesions, enhance immunity to bacteria and viruses, improve diminished respiratory capacity. It's also good for emphysema, scleroderma, lung cancer, valley fever, tuberculosis, and many other lung issues. These are amazing. While you don't need a doctor's recommendation, it's good to check with your doctor, okay, before you do something like this. Because when you hear the recipe, it's a little potent. It's a little potent. Hold on, I keep losing my mouse. All right. All right. Here it is. Okay. All right. So with the charred oak keg, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. My slide is just wonky. Here we go. Sorry. Okay. So the charred oak keg, you're going to create your therapy in it. It's good for asthma, also bronchitis, bronchiolitis. So you're going to have to get a keg, right? And these kegs have bands around it to keep the slats close to each other. So you need a charred oak keg. You're going to place the keg in a bathtub or a container of water. You're going to immerse it for 48 hours so that the wooden slats swell and they bump up against each other and create seams, right? So they get sealed. Then you remove it from the water, you let it dry overnight, and then with the keg on its side, listen to what you fill it with. You fill the keg halfway with 2 bottles, 2/5 of 80 or 100 proof apple brandy. I can smell it just thinking about it, right? And when, of course, you're not using this therapy, you don't drink it, right? When it's not in use, you keep the keg tightly corked and away from conditions, of course, that would ignite alcohol, right? So to take the treatment, very interesting, you're going to get a plastic straw about 1/4 to 1/2 inch in diameter. And it's usually provided when you buy those little charred oak kegs. And you're going to insert it above the water, right? You're not going to put it down into the apple brandy. I know you're tempted. Don't do it. Don't do it. This is for science. This is for medicine. No, just kidding, guys. Anyway, so you're just going to have it right above the water, right? Right above the water. And you're going to breathe in. You're going to feel it. Can you imagine what that yummy energy, right, created from the scent of the aroma of the apple brandy, right? It's almost weighty in the air, and then that goes in your lungs. That sounds like it feels really good. So you can hold the fume for 10 or 20 seconds and then exhale. And then you can do that 4 times. That's 1 treatment. They recommend 1 treatment a day, depending upon what you have going on. For people who are really sick, they recommend that you can do that 1 treatment, which is 4, right? 4 inhalations, 4 times a day. That's if you're really, really sick. Is that cool? It is cool, right? Let me see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Yeah, like a beer keg, but not. Like a beer keg, but not. I don't know if the Heritage Store has a charred oak keg, charred oak keg. If anybody has it, they would have it because they're right around the corner from the ARE, the Association of Research and Enlightenment. So I've only got 6 minutes left. So I want to tell you about the view from the ARE. I used to go up there and above the new building, above all of the conference rooms and hundreds of library books about Edgar Cayce and his therapies. Above it was more books, and then the meditation room. Edgar Cayce Foundation, the ARE, was on Pacific Avenue in Virginia Beach. So just like Monopoly, there's Atlantic, right? That's the street that's right up against the water. And then there's the Pacific. So the ARE was one street back, but it didn't matter because you're on the second floor. So I would get a reading and I'd see what it was. And, it's almost like getting a fortune. And then I'd go and I would go into the meditation room. And when you walk in, the meditation room is facing the Atlantic Ocean. And everything is very minimal, very nice chairs, but minimal. And everything is kind of beige and turquoise and maybe some seafoam green, those are the colors that you feel. But when you walk in, all you see is the freaking Atlantic Ocean before you, the horizon amazing, and wherever the sun is in the sky at that moment. Oh my God. Not only was the energy in that building phenomenal, right, off the hook, then you go up to the meditation room and you can sit, even at that height, you still see the Atlantic Ocean. It was like heaven. It was like heaven. And they have ongoing education there. Often it's amped up in the summer. So if you ever want to do, some sort of a spiritual retreat, I recommend looking into that, looking into the Association for Research and Enlightenment. And they have speakers, they have gatherings, they have educational things, and they have social things, they have woo-woo things, and I just highly recommend it. You can even go online, right, and check out the website. Check out the website and see what's going on there. So, not next week, but sometime in the near future, I'm coming back on with some other remedies that come right from the readings. So I kind of gave you a few of like the most popular ones. So something to think about. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any comments? Any takeaways? Any joy? Any joy? Be joy. Be joy. Nobody's going to make you joy, right? It's up to us. It's up to us to be the joy, to be the happiness. It's an inside job. Your mother's not going to make you happy. Your husband's not going to make you happy. Your dog's not going to make you happy. Although they get some lateral. Nobody's going to make you happy. Nobody's going to help you release the fear except you. You may have a coach or a mentor to help you with the fear, but it takes you saying yes to, I want to do the work. I want to be the change that I want to see. So it starts in me, right? All right, guys, much love. If you need to reach me for anything, you can reach me at NoriLove, NORILOVE 1111 at gmail.com. NoriLove1111 gmail.com. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Oh, you know what I wanted to tell you? My schedule's going to change a little bit. So please subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my shows are coming, because they're going to be a little bit off schedule, okay, for a few weeks. So please subscribe, and I'll see you next